everybody. So I called this session Preparing Snare Drum Excerpts for Symphonic Auditions. And just to do a poll, like who's planning to prepare snare drum excerpts for a symphonic audition, say within the next 6 months? That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Fun to do it anyway.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I was expecting half, but I thought I'm probably just completely missing the cue on this. But so I thought, even if you're not preparing for an audition, going to school or a symphony audition, stuff that you might be able to get out of this, I'm gonna bring you into this strange symphonic world that I've been living in, and you might pick up some tidbits about some of the hardware that we use and some of the techniques and some of the musical ideas. So hopefully you can walk away with some of those. And also most of the concepts, we're going to do a deep dive into some of these excerpts, but they're on this handout. It's on the outside desk, all right? Okay, cool. So the symphonic world is a little strange. It's a little weird. We're particular. So for example, what's particular about it? First of all, it's the hardware. So the snare drums that we like, oh look, it's like nice and shiny here. There's a special kind of skin we like. This is a 5mm skin, real thin, and we crank it up to A or B flat, and then we sand it down. It's like, oh. And then, oh look, these snares, different thicknesses for different volumes, right? So the hardware's a little strange. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm kind of angling down the snare a tiny bit. Like, what's he doing that for? I don't know. Like, symphonic players, again, a strange breed. We like to angle our snare drums. We feel that it brings the stick slightly closer to the skin. So strange hardware. Okay, what else is strange about this symphonic world? Some of the techniques that we use. I'll talk about it a bit more, but when we roll, we tend to use our arms. But my band director said never to use your arms, and use your wrist. Wow. We do that for specific reasons. When you have to hold a loud roll for a long time, if you just use your wrist, you might hurt yourself. So there's different things, different reasons why we might go against the convention. Okay, what else is strange about the symphonic world? These are just some things, as I go through this presentation, you can think about. Phrasing. We love to phrase. We would try to phrase one note if we could, but you actually need 2 notes to phrase, right, at the very least. So if you have 2 notes, we're going to phrase it like this. Falling away, or what about this? Going somewhere. Falling away from somewhere. We love to phrase. So I'll talk a bit about that. You'll see in the excerpt. And finally, we love to color. Think about color. You might say, that's a drum, there's only one color. Is that color? But if you use some weight and slow down your stroke, you might get more legato sound. And if you use your wrist with a little greater velocity, slightly different color, like a little punchier sound. So these are the nitpicky things that symphonic percussionists love to talk about. Now I only have two pairs of sticks here, but if this were a mallet demo, I'd bring a whole trunk of stuff. And it's like one mallet per excerpt kind of thing. We're a strange breed. So now the rest of this, what I'd like to do is play through some excerpts. These are things that you're going to run into at these symphony auditions. Put on the music so you can hear the context. And we're going to go through Rimsky-Korsakov, Capriccio Espagnol, Rimsky-Korsakov, Scheherazade, and then, if we have time, Shostakovich, Symphony 10. Like, you're going to find all these excerpts in any symphony audition that you go to. And I just noticed that they were all Russian composers. Strange thing. I guess they wrote like great snare parts that we all love to scare auditioners with. Okay, so the first one is third movement of Capriccio Espagnol. And what we're going to do is, Sean's going to play the music and I'm going to play along. And then talk about the excerpt after. All right? Here we go. Okay, that's the big snare roll, and in the last audition at the CPO, I think that was in round 1. Just come on the stage. All right. A couple things with this one. I'll start from the back. So that loud roll, you want to start nice and full, so no accent. So just start the loud roll. Diminuendo to mezzo piano with the brass, and then come up crescendo and peak when they peak, and then you go to the soft roll. So if you wanted to count it out, it's actually about 30 measures at 120 beats per minute in 4/4 time. The whole roll lasts about a minute. Now when you're done that roll, like you might be a little tense. So that's why I just do the 5-stroke roll with one hand. So I use my the tension in that arm to try to get that 5-stroke roll out. The other way to do it is just like, and it's in 6/8. Right? But actually, since there's no music happening when you're auditioning, you can think 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and that no one's gonna know. All right, so that one-handed thing I got from Matt Howard, who's the current principal percussion at the LA Phil. So back in September, when I knew that the audition was coming up, I thought, I need to try to amp up my game. So Matt was offering an online class called the Platinum Percussion. So every week he would go through excerpts on snare drum and cymbals and tambourine, and then we would record stuff for him, and then Saturday afternoons he would just give us feedback and say, Malcolm, you need to practice more. Sean, can you go back to the first part? Yeah, okay, this one. Look at this. Let's see what dynamic markings are here. Forte. Forte. Okay, so you can play this pretty flat, and I would say if you're auditioning for a section position and not a principal position, you play it flat. So playing it flat would be. Okay, now Matt says, if it's a principal job, then you want to show them you got some creativity, so add some phrasing in there. So that's where this phrasing comes in. Phrasing bit here. So I'm going to add some phrasing, and then you tell me what's different. Yeah, I did some diminuendos and builds, right? So what did I do? I kind of, right here, I dropped down in pitch and I build through here. And then I dropped down in pitch and I build through here. And I even kind of tried to stylize those triplets. So instead of just one, you can kind of squeeze them together. That man deserves a principal job. Anyway, so this is the kind of things that Matt was talking about.
I have a question about how you're playing the rolls. Because some of us here are kind of coming from a drumline approach, where you kind of have the buzz roll and the double strokes roll. Could you explain like how you're playing the rolls you're playing?
Yeah, we have so this comes under some weird symphonic thinking under technique here. So, how do you guys play it? Do you mostly with the wrists?
Yeah, we usually just either play a buzz or a double stroke.
Oh yeah.
You kind of see them in the middle almost.
Yeah, okay, so for about roll density. So the soft roll, you might have 10 or 11 bounces per stroke. As I get louder, I'm going to speed up my roll, but it's going to open up a little bit. I might have 5 or 6 bounces and mezzo forte. And then when it gets really loud, so at that point it's a triple stroke roll, but I'm rolling faster to get the volume.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you might notice something different, that I'm using a lot of arm here. So that's to get the speed, to get that volume. And we try to work at that. Matt would call it working at your threshold. So how long can you hold your loud roll and not like, For me, when I first started, it was like 20 seconds, and then I kind of built it up to about 50 seconds, and by the time everything's dying, it's like, But you want to try to work at that, all right? So it's a triple stroke roll, and since we're on about the roll, this is kind of interesting because when I first started drums, it was all here when I did all my rolls. But then what happens is there's a lot of strain on here, especially if you're trying to hold that loud roll for a long time. So then, I'm not sure who came up with this. First of all, it might be Philadelphia School, Alan Abel. But it's a different concept. So the wrist is still, but I'm kind of bending, I'm actually kind of rotating from the shoulder here. So just when I try and experiment, okay, so let's say, okay, we're going to use your arms. Actually, try your wrists. See how fast you can go, wrists. Okay, now how about bending from the elbow like this? Okay, where's the tension? For me, the tension starts to build in my shoulders. I don't know, can you guys feel that?
Chest, like pecs.
Yeah. It's up. For me, the tension starts to build here. But if I start to think of this as the hinge and do this, then I find everything kind of relaxes. I don't know, is that a reproducible experiment? Everything kind of relaxes. So then you can pump out that roll and things to try out. Okay. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that kind of came out of the symphonic world. I don't know if any drum set players in here, do you do that? Arms? Do you guys roll with your arms? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. Cool. We have that in common then. Yay! All right. Cool. Okay, so that was about some of the phrasing stuff, right? It's not written in there, but for certain occasions, we want to try to phrase with the music. That's one example. Okay? Cool. You've graduated to the next level. So now we're going to go to Rimsky-Korsakov, Scheherazade. Time's just flying by. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of key points in this one. This is the fourth movement of Scheherazade. And you've got this big roll, and you got a sforzando hit, and down to pianissimo. In a concert hall, no one's in a concert hall, and they're listening to you. That hit is going to resonate. So just to get clarity of some of those 16ths, Matt actually said, oh, you could do a tiny dim. So, and then get into those 16ths. They're supposed to be legato, color. Legato 16ths. It's like doing a soft timpani roll. So, yeah, so not jabby, legato. Then the next bit. This bit here, see, just says forte, right? But Matt was saying, oh, let's raise that. We're going to get louder each one. Louder, louder. Center. Using the center to get really nice and punchy there. He says kind of compress those and think of every one of those strokes with a staccato, a dot. Color, staccato. You see how we're playing with phrasing and color? And then this next bit. That's okay. Let's go back a little bit. Yeah, this section where the eighth notes come in here, it's not even written in there, but the orchestra's kind of crescendoing here for 2 bars and decrescendoing there. So guess what? You can do that too. All right, and then the music kind of heads up. Like that phrase comes 3 times, but the 3rd time the melody goes up in pitch. So then you can actually, you can't go up in pitch here, but you can get a little bit louder. Louder. You know what I mean? You're kind of following the melody, right?
Malcolm, in this section here, can you talk a little bit about how you're placing the drags? Like,
Good question.
Where are you thinking
Yeah.
in relation to the beat?
Yeah, because the orchestra's kind of playing in triplets. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Then you do the same thing. So you think like a shuffle. Yeah, thinking triplets there. Good question. Thanks, Matt. What else is there? Let's see, anything? Oh, now, when you're working on this, there are a lot of what I call rhythm traps. What's a rhythm trap?
You need to repeat a section that is shifts suddenly.
Oh, could be, that's a good one. Repeated section of shifts. I'm thinking about a rhythm trap. I don't know who coined this word. May have been me. But I'm not sure.
Someone pretty
But-
wise in any case.
Yeah. Rhythm trap is any situation where you're going to speed up or slow down without intending to. Right, so what are the traps? Normally, density is you're going to want to speed up. You're going to want to play along. You're going to want to speed up here. Play along. Sean, can you go down a bit? You might want to squeeze those. And then look, density really pumps up there. You might want to rush there. So what I do is I put a click on every 4 beats or something, and then I'll just play around like click, click. I'll just move back and forth between those different densities, just to make sure I'm not speeding up. All right. Okay, yeah, lots of rhythm traps in there. I wonder. Yeah.
How do you decide whether you're going to play the phrase as single strokes or as double strokes or as a plus roll?
Oh, like for example, like what's written there? I think it kind of depends where you live on the planet, because like in North America, I've only seen this. that in Germany, they might double those, for example. That's a great question too. In a previous excerpt, like when I went to school, they had us do doubles. And then Matt was like, oh no, it's always been buzz rolls. So there's some tradition and some like, yeah, good question though. I wanted to say, this part here at Q, right, at Q, it says mezzo forte there. In Matt's opinion, most people play that too loud. So he says play that mezzo piano. And here's how you work on it, because you got to play kind of softer, but then you need enough crescendo. So crescendo. Here's how he says to work on it. I kind of like this. So you do this. Yeah, and then you just sort of, then that was all in one spot on the drum, and then you start to add a little bit of back and forth. Kind of interesting, kind of break that down, huh?
Can I ask a quick question about how you choose? I know a lot of us that come maybe more from the rudimental tradition, when you have those sections of continuous drags. It was just a little bit higher than this, but if I'm not mistaken, you seem to be doing all those drags on the same hand.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about like how you make those sort of choices in phrasing, or what it does to the sound playing on a single hand, as opposed to if like, again, in rudimental tradition, if I see that, it would be my nature to encourage students to alternate there.
Right. Like that, right? Yeah, in the symphonic world, what's prized is consistency of sound. So I'm going to be a bit more consistent if I just stick to everything with one hand. And even things like that little bit. One hand that, because that would be more consistent. So that's what they're looking for. Yeah, consistency. So anything you can do, the sticking is really like what's another one? Prokofiev. Kind of right hand dominant. Because that's very consistent. It's a bit more consistent than if I were to go, for example. Good question. That doesn't mean I don't practice left hand lead. I practice right hand lead, and then left hand lead. And then I alternate. And you want to work on both, right? But in the execution, you're going to favor your strong hand. All the bets are on the strong hand. Okay. Let's see, 10 minutes left. There's a movement before this. We won't do it with the music, but you gotta go. So, crazy. So symphonic players spend hours and hours working on that soft stuff. Now that's gonna be pretty boring if that's all you practice for 2 hours, but I got a solution for you. You take your middle solo, drum corps parade, or whatever, and you're gonna practice it nice and soft. Play the whole thing soft, so you work on your soft stuff and kind of stay engaged musically, right? That's. And I do it kind of watching Netflix. I do probably 90% of keeping up the chops isn't like I watch all the Breaking Bad, Rebel Moon, whatever. So it's just doing Breaking Bad's playing. I'm going through my stick control. Go through my whole routine. I've got like a flam routine, but you also get your own daily routine. Something with single strokes. We're going to work in doubles. Breaking Bad's happening. Work your triples. Work your accent tap. and then the inverts, all that stuff. But when you practice your soft stuff, this is not going to serve you because you need something very sensitive. So that's when you take up your snare drum. And I can do this at midnight, like in an apartment block. And no one's going to care because it's real quiet. But you need that sensitivity to work on that. All right. Let's see. Let's play some Shostakovich. And then maybe if someone wants to come up, you can work on your roll, maybe. Okay, so this Shostakovich 10, I think this is different than Scheherazade. Scheherazade's about boats and a storm at the sea and love, and Shostakovich 10 is about let's kill some people.
Wow.
I mean, that's the breadth of the human expression in music. This music covers all that. And you can do all that on the snare drum. Who would have thought? This comes at the end of movement 2. You could play on a deeper drum too, like to get that military vibe. I wouldn't play it on here. Yeah. All right, here we go. Thanks, Sean.
What's one of the scariest side effects of type 2? Losing a foot!
It's going better than that. Anyway, so just a couple things on that one. What should I say? Oh, Matt Howard says that opening bit, playing the center of the drum, you want to place those, people would normally rush those. And he was thinking, oh, you want that sound of like a downstroke. So mix a little bit, and crescendo through that roll, and then when you got this part, he says phrase those, so it's not just going to the beat. I love that. Keep the drag tight. The drag is actually the end of that crescendo. End of the crescendo. Mix a little bit. That actually starts off the beat, so make sure you don't accent the beginning of those phrases. All right? And that final roll, boom, center of the drum. Slaps. Punch it, Chewy. Center of the drum. All right. Good. 5 minutes left. Let's open up the floor to some questions, and maybe someone want to come up and we can work on your role, like make you sound better than me. Any questions? Yo.
I have one. I haven't done any orchestral auditions or anything, but I've heard that in like kind of the excerpt culture, a lot of people, they have like one idea of how an excerpt should sound. So I'm just kind of wondering like how far you can go with the phrase of representing like super black and white rules.
So I think one of the considerations is what's the position you're applying for. If it's a section position, I would probably play more conservative. If it's a
Yeah.
principal job, then you can kind of try things. Matt said that when he tried that, they tried all those phrases, they actually, Dudamel actually asked him, can you play that straight? Like just play it straight?
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the phrasing, for example, the Scheherazade bit, this one, there's actually two ways to do that. You can go to the fourth partial, which one of the finalists at our audition did. Matt was saying, fall away from the second partial, so. And then later on when you do this bit, you're also bringing out that second partial. I kind of like that, just to fall away from the second partial. So there's different ways to do things, and then both can be successful, like in that situation. So kind of thinking about what the job is. Thank you. Yo!
Did you start off with percussion or did you start off with a
Oh yeah, there were a couple failures in that. It was violin, that lasted not too long, and then there was piano, I kind of stuck with it, but then I was like, in grade 4, our band teacher, Arlen Mangold, had a band program starting in grade 4, so then I was like, okay, I play a bit of piano already, I'm just gonna wait as he goes through the list, piano's gonna be at the end. Piano was not at the end, but guess what was?
Yes!
Yeah! And that's what happened. That's what happened. Yeah. What do you play?
I play drums. I play percussion.
You play other instruments?
No, I'm just a percussionist.
Percussion. All right.
The recording now? I play.
Okay. Well, it says I got 2 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait. Eat, sleep, drum, repeat. That's what it says on the shirt.
So, would you say it's a good practice technique to listen to a recording of another, like orchestra or something performing said song, even though no two snare drummers are the same?
Yeah, you wanna listen to a bunch of different interpretations, especially at the beginning when you get that big list. You're gonna listen to 4 or 5. Oh, Boston, they did that. Atlanta, they did that. Cleveland, they did that. And Calgary, Phil, they did that. We're not. Yeah.
If you're doing an orchestral audition and the instructions are pick any snare drum solo, how would you go about picking what you're going to play?
That's a good question. In our audition, the snare drum solo was picked, so we had to play the Clues 1. I'm not sure. Does anyone know that it's been that free for any? Have you seen anything like that? Yeah. I think normally it's dictated. It's Delacluse 1, or a very common one is Delacluse 9. That's that crazy French stuff. Yeah.
We got a question over here.
Henry! Henry's going to McGill.
After you get familiar with the piece, do you still practice with recordings or?
Oh, sometimes, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I do practice recordings, but the more important thing is to record yourself. So every time you're going through some stuff, you're learning, you're practicing it. Every session you should record yourself and then listen back, and then, oh, you're gonna notice things like, oh, I thought I was not rushing. Guess what? That tape doesn't lie. Yes.
Did you happen to pull your dynamics back to the room and like you see the
Well, I couldn't.
without adjusting?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't really hear the recording when I was like banging up here. Like, what the hell's going on?
So like, can you speak a little bit about
but room
the
acoustics?
Space? Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly. So the room can be wet. If the room is wet, like our hall downtown is pretty wet, then you wanna make it dry. Like our music director said, Malcolm, I need that to be dry. So I just like stuck a towel on this thing and make sure like the snares are nice and tight for that. That's the problem in our hall is articulation, especially for timpani and like how do we articulate in that hall? So we have to find ways to either with mallets or our technique, find enough articulation for that hall. That's most of my experience. But if it's a drier room, I hardly ever play in a drier room, then maybe I might not use this. Just let the drums speak. But yeah, the acoustics are very important. Okay, yeah, I'd like to thank you all for being here. My sponsors, Brandenburg and Mount Royal. These handouts are out there. Any questions, come and see me. Talk to me anytime today. Thank you.
So we're also, if you're in this room, lunch is provided for you. If we head out that door, and if you are very kindly a Central Memorial student, you'll follow Mr. Mailman down to where the food is provided. Central students, please help along because we do not know where we're going.